So we wanted to do a little breakfast rant this morning before we head out the door. We're waiting for a couple of emails before we do, so we thought we'd do a video.
Yeah. We got a different backdrop today, if you noticed, because it's too cold out there. It's like 30 degrees and the wind's blowing crazy. So we're inside where it's warmer.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's enough light.
So what we wanted to talk about this morning is that conversation that we had with that Bible study we started. And we had this conversation a couple weeks ago. And this guy's been to a couple of assemblies and conventions. And he said, with no prodding whatsoever, he says, so what I get from these conventions is that it's all about serving the governing body. And I kind of laughed because here's a guy on the outside considering coming in, and this is what he sees as an obstacle. And why shouldn't he? It kind of reminds me of a special convention. We were at the special convention, and that sister gave that experience. I don't know if you know which one I'm talking about the branch build, being a temp worker.
Yeah, we were in Milwaukee. And she said, I don't remember exactly the quote, but basically it was like, I'm so happy, or it was such a great privilege to be building a house for Christ's brothers.
Yeah, it was such an honor, and I just wanted to scream out, idolatry! But my sensibleness tempered me just to saying it out loud. But, like, are all the anointed going to move to Bethel now, or is she just serving a few guys at the top? So I guess it shouldn't surprise me that that's the view that the Bible study got as well. And if somebody has video of that, by the way, from the special convention in Milwaukee, I'd love to see it. Mm-hmm. But so then he asks about finances, because he asks if it's a publishing company to make money, and that that view is out there. And I'm an honest person, so I told him, at the congregation level, everything's absolutely transparent. They have an accounts report where they read how much money came in and how much money went to keep the electricity on, and how much money went to the branch, and it's all transparent. Same at the circuit level. At the circuit assembly, you'll notice they read I don't know what you call it, but basically have accounts reports.
They have accounts reports too.
Yep, where they tell you how much money came in, what they're sending to the branch, and etc., how much the venue cost. Same at the district level, they do the same thing, how much money came in, how much the venue cost. But at the branch level, it's opaque as lead. Mm-hmm. So he asked the next logical question, is the governing body getting rich off this then? And I'll tell you what I told him in a minute. But by now you've probably seen the Tony Morris liquor store spending spree. And if not, just search it on the YouTube bar, you'll find it. But I happened to mention this to another witness, and he says, well, maybe he was just getting it for a get-together. Really? Okay, I guess that's possible. But I've been on plenty of beer runs in my life, and there's usually a variety of drinks you're getting, not just $100 per bottle whiskey. That's not exactly your garden variety whiskey for making mixers either. Mm-hmm. So what are they going to do with the whiskey? Maybe they're going to do Gilead shots, toaster shots after graduation.
I don't think so. And not only that, aren't there helpers for this? I mean, I just think there's got to be somebody that would just jump at the opportunity to do something for a governing body member.
Yeah, and I might add, in that video, he isn't just picking out things on a list, but he's also able to recommend a bottle to our cameraman, actually one that his wife recommends, so he's pretty familiar with the aisle's subject matter. Yeah. All this kind of points to personal use, if you ask me. And for those that want to defend him by saying, well, that just proves he's a regular guy. Again, I want to mention this isn't a trip to the grocery store that the regular guy can be seen doing every week. I mean, for every time you catch me in the liquor store, yeah, you'll probably catch me in the grocery store 50 times, and I don't even do the shopping. So you think there'd be some videos to balance out the scales, so to speak. But that's not going to be likely. There are all sorts of brothers running the gauntlet for food and drink at Bethel, so there's no need for that. I'm sure it's run like a restaurant, getting all its supplies from a vendor. Bulk buying power, which is the point. Which brings the question, why is he making this run in the first place? Even restaurants have their liquor sent in. Okay, so maybe Bethel doesn't want to do that, so that way they can keep the public image whitewashed. Then likewise, why wouldn't you send one of the brothers to do the task, as Tiffany mentioned? If for no other reason, just to keep the face of the organization squeaky clean. Why is he there in the first place? Is he hiding something? And somebody maybe will say, oh, well, you're being too speculative. Well, now, no. To whom much is given, much will be demanded. And with the measure that you're measuring out, they will measure back to you. With all the articles that are written about not drinking at all if it will stumble your brother, and examples to follow in the publications about how individuals forego alcohol so as to not leave a poor impression, it doesn't get any bigger than this as far as sending a bad message to those people who might be stumbled. You have a governing body member by himself dropping $1,000 on expensive liquor and hard liquor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm all for quoting Paul and taking the stand, why should I be judged by another man's conscience? Or in other words, I'm not going to stop, but I won't do it in front of you if it makes you feel better. But with the public stand in the literature, and all the posturing that they do on stage regarding the subject, this screams hypocrisy.
Absolutely.
Not to mention, these guys are supposed to get a stipend, or at least all the other people in special service do. I know I'm not on a specific stipend, but you won't find me at the liquor store dropping $1,000. Which brings us back to the question the Bible study had in the beginning. Is the governing body getting rich off this then? I told him honestly, I can't answer that. Like I said, it's not transparent. But I can say this. Is the president rich just because he lives in the White House? Obviously, I'm talking about everything the White House represents, in power, wealth, etc. I mean, Trump became president, but he was wealthy before that. So it includes all those things. But just for the sake of argument, we'll stick with wealth. Again, is the president rich just because he lives in the White House? And he says, well, no. I responded, okay. Now how about if he never leaves? It's funny, I was reading an article today where President Trump met President Xi Jinping of China and called him king. Xi said, but I'm not king, I'm the president. Trump responded, you're president for life. That makes you king. Who could argue? Somebody had sent a letter into Bethel asking about this Toni Morrison, the liquor store situation, saying that it concerned them, and they actually gave a very quick response, given it was Bethel. Usually you got to wait months to get a response from Bethel, so they must be doing some damage control. But one of the helpers to the governing body wrote back. And it's interesting, he quotes a scripture from 1 Corinthians. Would you read that scripture? It's 1 Corinthians, what is it?
4 verse 9. For it seems to me that God has put us, the apostles, last on exhibition as men condemned to death, because we have become a theatrical spectacle to the world, and to angels and to men.
So he brings out they are a theatrical spectacle. It's interesting the context there. Would you read the preceding verse, verse 8?
Verse 8. Are you already satisfied? Are you already rich? Have you begun ruling as kings without us?
And there you have it.